My dear friend in Christ, we have a very interesting incident in the Gospel of Luke chapter 14 verse 1 to 11. Jesus was invited to a Pharisee's house. Since it was the Sabbath, the food had been cooked the day before the Sabbath and kept hot till the Sabbath. Because cooking was considered work, it was considered labor and was forbidden. Many devout Jews still follow this practice. During the course of the meal, Jesus felt sympathy for a man suffering from dropsy. It's a kind of sickness, a distension of the abdomen with water, usually because of a liver and kidney infection caused by frequent attacks of malarial fever. It was an abnormal swelling of the body, and this, my dear friend in Christ, was very common in Palestine. Jesus asked the lawyers and Pharisees whether it was lawful to heal on the Sabbath. There was silence, and Jesus took silence as consent, and he healed the man. Now for the Pharisees, this was a serious violation of the Sabbath law. They labeled Jesus as a careless Sabbath breaker. Jesus challenged them, asking if they would not save their son or an ox on a Sabbath, if the child or the animal had accidentally fallen into a well. It was a very thought-provoking question for which the answer was yes, but they remained silent. My dear friend in Christ, it is important to know the purpose of the Sabbath. The Sabbath was intended by God to be, first of all, a day of worship and of praising and thanking God for His goodness, His providence, His mercy, and His blessings. Secondly, it was a day for teaching God's law to the children. Third, it was a day of rest from normal work. And fourth, it was a day for socializing with the members of the family and neighbors. And finally, the fifth purpose, a day for doing works of charity in the community. My dear friend in Christ, it is possible that we may not be paying attention or giving serious thought to some of those 5 points of action. We sometimes feel so uncomfortable, so uneasy if we missed a Sunday service. But do we feel the same discomfort and uneasiness when we have not loved or forgiven or understood someone the way we should? Maybe someone in the family, someone in the neighborhood, someone in the community or at the workplace needs your attention. The real observance of the Sabbath is when we are right with God and right with one another in worship. Let's think about the story of a young man with a knife in one hand and a small mat under his arm. He was chasing after an enemy to murder him. Suddenly he heard the call for midday prayer. Like a deeply religious man, he stopped, rolled out his mat and began praying. And my dear friend in Christ, after praying, he rolled up his mat again, took up his knife and went desperately searching for his enemy to murder him. I think that drives home a very important point. Think about this. May you have a good and godly day.